Hey everyone, welcome to another Good e-Reader comparison video. My name is Michael.
And my name is Peter.
Today we have the iPhone 6 Plus versus the iPhone 5. When I was looking to actually get this, the 6 Plus, I was trying to see what other videos out there showed these two going head to head, and there really wasn't any. Everyone was comparing either the 6 versus the 6 Plus, or the 5S versus the 6 Plus, or the 5S versus the 6. So you never, when I was doing research, I found that videos that showed these two head to head were very few and far between. But that's not the only reason why we're doing this. We really want to focus on the core e-reading experience, but also show you fundamentally hardware wise what are the big upgrades and what can you expect if you're upgrading from an older model to the newer model. This is a 4-inch screen. The resolution is 640 by 1136, whereas this is a 5.5-inch screen, resolution 1080 by 1920. So on paper, this is looking fairly solid. Let's take a look at the hardware.
They look very similar to each other on the front, aside from the fingerprint scanner missing on this, which actually is available on this if you get the S version. Everything's laid out the same: cameras, earpiece, home button, screens. The 5 has very sharp edges, 90-degree angled edges, whereas the 6 Plus has been smoothed over almost entirely. If we're looking at the bottom, we see they both have a single speaker on this side and microphones on this side. This little mesh is a microphone, 3.5mm headphone jack, same connectors on both of these. On the right, we have a SIM tray and the power button on the 6. On the other side, we have volume up and down and the same mute button. And then on the back, on the top, of course, is the power button for the 5, which has been moved over. But on the back, we have cameras, microphones for the cameras, and flashes. The camera on the 6S actually protrudes about 0.5 millimeter out from the device itself, whereas the 5 is completely flush.
So the first thing that we want to check out is the e-reading experience. iBooks is a part of iOS 8, so this is what we're going to look at first. First thing I notice, this is a very light screen. Is looking a little dark.
And we have the brightness settings the exact same, and they're both maxed out.
So on the smaller phone, you really kind of have to up the text size in order to read effectively.
This is about as big as it goes on the 6 Plus. A lot of people are always wondering how big can we make the text. There's the answer for that.
So all in all, I mean, you could see that on the 5.5-inch screen, there's just like a lot more screen real estate to read more effectively. With here, it's like a whole lot less text on the screen. So reading novels on anything other than an iPhone 6 Plus, it's a little harder. You know, it might be a little bit easier with the new 6 because it does have a little bit larger of a screen, but nothing could really match the 6 Plus in terms of an e-reading tool. Let's look at some manga. So it's the cover art. Again, you can see that very large, very small.
It's the exact same page. We'll just let you guys decide which one you like more. We'll do some pinch and zooms. It's about as maxed out as it goes there.
I noticed if I want to find a con with the 6 Plus, if you scroll, like if you zoom as much as you can do, this still looks very fine. It's defined like the letters, but if you zoom in on here, things tend to like look a little bit more stretched and pixelated.
It's just blown up.
Yeah. So that's the one thing I noticed, but I find that I don't really have to pinch and zoom much because it's way easier to read what they're saying here. Like, look at these two speech bubbles here.
You're gonna need to pinch and zoom on this guy to... There we go. Now it's about the same size.
Yeah, but you can't flip the pages like that and preserve that zoom level. It's like you have to constantly, you know, you have to kind of read it like this.
Yeah, whereas this is almost just good by default.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Next thing I want to look at is a comic. So there's the Marvel Comics app, Doctor Strange origin story.
Yeah, those mountains almost match up. Look.
Yeah, totally.
I didn't even find that. Here's a good portrait shot.
Yeah.
Pinch and zooms, of course. It's about as far in as we can go.
Comics, you don't really get pixelated when you pinch and zoom very much.
Yeah.
And it's a bit of it's a bit of an older comic, but it is still like full HD. So
colors are about the same. It's just mostly the brightness on this.
I think so.
It doesn't go as bright.
Yeah, this is. Yeah, I mean, you can see how muted this is versus that. Now, reading books, anime, comics isn't the only thing that you can do with this, but I tend to keep myself informed in all the latest news with a little app here that I like called Dig. It's syncing a lot of stories.
There we go. Here's a similar one. There's
a
clown right there.
Alright.
Wow, so you see a lot of the UI elements at the top take up a lot of the screen. Whereas this is just, there's so much more screen to work with.
Yeah. I think that's the... If there's anything that we sort of learned through this e-reading comparison is just like there's a lot more text that fits on the screen at any given time, no matter what we're reading.
No, could be anything.
Yeah, like anything that we've shown, and this is like if you're gonna read, we showed you pretty well everything that you're gonna read on like iPhones. But yeah, I mean this screen's brighter, which is what I like, and I like the fact that more text shows on here. I found that I only use this to read Dig and routers. I found it really hard to read ebooks, to read manga, to read comics on this. I use pretty well my iPad for that sort of thing because it fits more text. But now that I have the iPhone 6 Plus, and I've only had it for about a week and a half, it took me about 3 days to get adjusted to holding this properly, to interact with it a little bit differently, because it's really easy to cradle this in one hand. This, you have to hold it a little bit differently.
The iPhone 4 and the iPhone 5, you know, this has been the size, and you don't really notice how small it is until you put it against something else. Because a lot of people had this phone, and you never really thought too much like, wow, what a tiny phone when it's on its own. But you put it next to this, you put it next to a standard Android phone, and you start to realize, wow, this is really tiny. And it's not until you start reading manga and comic books and everything else on this, and you realize that's the right size.
This large phone certainly isn't for everyone. I have fairly big hands, as you can see, so holding this with one hand and you know, answering emails, typing with one hand, no big deal. This is certainly a lot easier, the smaller Apple iPhones to be able to interact with. Anybody, big or large, you know, hands can easily interact with this. This certainly isn't for everyone because it's like a phablet almost, you know. It's just, I would say it's probably just about 2 inches smaller than the iPad mini.
Yeah, no, that's right.
You know, 7.9 versus 5.5.
Pretty close.
So I really like this. This is the first phone that I could actually enjoy watching videos and enjoy reading all sorts of content. With this, I didn't really play a lot of games. I didn't read a lot of books. I pretty well just like read Flipboard, news feeds, Dig and routers, and answered emails. With the 6 Plus, I'm doing a lot more and participating a lot more in the ecosystem than I've really ever had before. And I only really did what I do on this phone because it feels like it's an extension of my iPad now or my iPad mini, so it's just capable of a lot more. Tell us what you think. Did you appreciate this video? Did it assist you in making maybe a decision on what would make the best phone to read on? Drop a comment below. For Good Reader, my name is Michael.
And my name is Peter.
Everybody take care.